You can touch, you can play. If you say, I'm always yours. You know Barbie. The one who can be anything she wants. The one whose dream house was the pinnacle of childhood desire. And the one with the oh so controversial figure. That's the one. Today I want to talk about how Barbara Millicent Roberts became our modern Barbie.
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 Barbie. Barbie.
Barbie.
Huh? Oh, hey, Barbie.
Anything is possible with Barbie!
Barbie was introduced on March 9th, 1959 by Mattel, a Southern Californian toy company. Co-founder Ruth Handler was the one who really spearheaded the project of getting Barbie up and running. When she was on vacation with her family, she noticed a couple of dolls in Europe that looked markedly different from the ones in America. And she noticed there was a huge demographic that nobody was catering to in North America. See, before Barbie, a lot of the toys that little girls were playing with were dolls that were pretty much like little babies. So the girls playing with these dolls were supposed to be the ones nurturing them, caring for them, essentially practicing their role of future mother. Kinda sexist, but what wasn't back in the 1950s, right? Anyway, Barbie was created and her first occupation was aspiring teen model. That opened the door for Barbie to be more like a big sister or role model figure to the children who were playing with her dolls.
If you were Barbie, the glamorous teenage fashion model doll by Mattel, you'd have a fabulous wardrobe created for you by Mattel's famous designer. If you were Barbie, you'd insist on the best. And Barbie is the best, made only by Mattel.
Barbie was markedly different than a lot of the other dolls at the time because she resembled an adult woman. And that's because she was modeled off of the German Built Lily doll. Built Lily was this risque, fabulous, frankly sexy cartoon character that was featured in the German newspaper called Bild Zeitung. Readers loved her because she was glamorous and sassy. So Lily was made into a doll. But she wasn't sold to children at first. She really started off as more of like a gag gift for men, being mostly available at tobacco shops and used for bachelor parties. So she was more of like a sex symbol, I would say, at this point. Eventually, because Lily had so many accessories and she looked sassy and fun and pretty, kids also caught on and they wanted to have a Built Lily doll of their own. But she wasn't able to pick up that much steam and get really popular because in 1964, Mattel actually bought the rights to Built Lily. Barbie couldn't have all that competition, okay? There could only be one Barbie.
There can be only one.
As for Barbie, when she was introduced in 1959, she was an instant success because she sold over 300,000 dolls in the first year alone, and that number just kept rising. But after the first 2 years, kids were getting kind of bored. They're like, okay, yeah, it's Barbie, cool. What else is available? And Mattel sort of caught on to that, okay? So they were like, ooh, we need to get on top of this. We need to get ahead of it. So they knew they needed to create some Barbie lore, okay? You gotta keep the kids interested. So in 1961, they introduced Barbie's boyfriend, Ken.
And then it happened. She met Ken.
And a little while after that, they came out with her best friend, Midge, as well as her parents, Margaret and George. Mattel also added more outfits and, of course, more accessories. By the way, I don't know if you could tell, but I had tried to do a little bit of a Barbie getup. Editing Niki here to tell you that I know the eye makeup looks bad when I look down, okay? You don't need to tell me. So I don't want to see any comments up in here about you guys telling me that I look crazy when I look down or anything. I thought it looked okay when I looked straight at the camera. I tried, okay? Anyway, as Barbie kept getting more popular, Mattel realized they could probably expand into the international markets, and they did in 1980. For the places that they were marketing Barbie outside of the United States and North America, they did tailor some aspects of her to suit the needs and the wants of the children in other places. And of course, we can't talk about Barbie without talking about the controversies. And why not start with the main one? Her body. Now, her body has been a point of discussion since her creation. In 1958, a year before Barbie was publicly introduced, Mattel had a kind of small focus group to just do some market research on Barbie and see how did the kids like her, right? Interestingly, mothers criticized Barbie for having too much of a figure. Mattel wanted an unbiased look at what the children thought, so they also took the kids aside and asked them what they thought, independent of what their mothers were thinking or anyone else as well. But oddly enough, the kids didn't really care. They just saw Barbie as a pretty doll and wanted to play with her. But like the mothers in the focus group, adults have always been a lot harsher on Barbie's appearance. And this begged the question, is Barbie's appearance even realistic? The answer is no. It is not. And we know this because in 1994, Finnish researchers looked at Barbie and saw that she wouldn't even have enough body fat on her to menstruate. And other sources found that if Barbie was a real person, she wouldn't even be able to walk. One, because her head is too big and her neck is too skinny to support such a big head. And two, because she has a child size 3 foot, so the physics is not physicking, okay? And to add even more evidence onto the already overwhelming pile that says Barbie's proportions are not realistic, I also found that her stomach could only hold her liver and some of her intestines. Literally no room for food. Yikes. And this brings up another controversy, okay? Barbie was out here telling the children of 1965, don't eat. What in tarnation? Yeah. In 1965, Mattel introduced a slumber party Barbie, and some of her accessories included some pink pajamas, okay, a scale set to 110 pounds, okay, and 2 books, one titled How to Lose Weight, and the other simply Don't Eat. Jesus, it sounds like she has like a gun to my head or something.
4 to 6 days later.
Well, I suppose I should keep editing that Barbie video. Kinda hungry though. Maybe I should get a snack. Yeah, let's do it. I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. Life fantastic. It's fantastic. You can brush my hair and dress me everywhere. Imagination, that's a creation. Oh, hey Barbie.
Don't eat.
I guess she was in her toxic girl era. There were a lot more controversies on individual Barbies as well, like this Teen Talk Barbie from 1992 who said, "Math class is tough," insinuating that math is hard for girls like us, huh? Or this creepy ass midge who's 9 months pregnant and has a removable belly with a baby inside? What the hell, Mattel? It was creepy to say the least. Parents also thought this midge was really creepy because they said stuff about it, and Walmart had to pull them off of their shelves real quick. So lots and lots of criticism for Barbie. But that widespread criticism actually made Mattel create some changes, because they changed Barbie's appearance on more than one occasion. At the turn of the 21st century, Barbie was given smaller breasts, a wider waist, and slimmer hips. And in 2016, amongst a slew of controversy about poor diversity, Mattel actually launched 3 additional Barbies. You could get them in petite, tall, and curvy. Okay, there were a lot of controversies, but I would also argue that Barbie did some good. Like, she's not this demon, right?
Don't eat.
I feel like there's usually a lot of nuance to life, and Barbie is one of those things that has a lot of nuance. So, let's talk about what she's doing right. For one, she's self-sufficient by all standards. She has this impressive resume of various occupations, like astronaut, doctor, airline pilot, presidential candidate. Editing Niki again. I'm sorry, I'm sick, so I sound disgusting. But I didn't do the best job of explaining this point. So you might think that Barbie's careers are like a relatively new thing, but not really. She's been a career woman since the 60s, which was pretty unheard of. Considering that Astronaut Barbie came out in 1965 and the first actual woman astronaut in the United States, at least, didn't start her career until the 70s, I'd say Barbie was pretty groundbreaking in her careers. Also, Barbie is not defined by the men around her in her life. Now, I know that feminists do argue that Barbie is portraying a very idealized version of femininity, which I do agree with. But she is also not defined by the men around her. Think about other iconic women in the mid 20th century. For example, let's take Marilyn Monroe. If you're thinking about her, then who else are you thinking about? Probably JFK, right? Now, I'm guilty of also speaking of Marilyn Monroe in the same breath of John F. Kennedy. Um, if you want to go check out that video, I will link it up here for you. But you see what I mean, right? Now, Barbie exists kind of on her own. She's like the main character. Of course, there's Ken, her boyfriend, but he's not really the main character here, right? Barbie can independently exist in our minds without Ken. I think the 2023 Barbie movie sums it up really nicely. The slogan is, "She's everything and he's just Ken." I'd almost argue that Ken is sort of like an accessory for her. And even though Barbie is criticized for having this giant plethora of things, her accessories, she is able to afford them all on her own. There's never been a narrative put forward that Ken is the one buying her all of her stuff, like her dream home and all of the accessories she has. And if you don't believe me that Barbie has bought all of this stuff on her own, then I have a piece of Barbie lore for you. I remember it like it was yesterday. The year was 2004. Barbie and Ken had broken up amongst a slew of other celebrity breakups. They actually broke up for 7 years, and guess who kept the dream house? Barbie, because the mortgage was probably in her name. I also think that Barbie does a pretty good job of defying traditional, like 1950s gender stereotype because Ken and Barbie never got married. Maybe not everything about Barbie is socially progressive, but we can take everything that we can get, right? Now, Barbie has come a really long way since her introduction in the 1950s. She's had a lot of careers and she's been defying these gender norms, which is really cool. So it kind of annoys me that Mattel took forever to release a diverse set of Barbies. Of course, there was one Black and one Latina Barbie that was released in the 1980s, but they could have done more. It wasn't until 2016 that Barbie introduced their Fashionista line. This was a line of Barbies that came in 4 different body types, 7 skin tones, 22 eye colors, and 24 hairstyles. And in the name of encouraging diversity and acceptance, Mattel also introduced Barbies and Kens in wheelchairs. I believe those Barbies are called like Share a Smile Becky or something like that. I think it's cool that kids can look on the shelves nowadays and see themselves represented in pretty much any way, shape, or form. Because quite frankly, I didn't have that growing up. I had one Barbie doll who was this tall, beautiful, thin, blonde, white woman. And I was never going to be her. I remember staring down at my Barbie doll, just hoping that one day my features would change to resemble her a little bit more. To be a little bit more Eurocentric. Honestly, that could be its whole own video, but I'm glad that kids nowadays can at least see themselves represented on shelves because it's really so impactful to see yourself represented on movies and TV. And speaking of movies, this brings me to my next point. Okay, let's talk about Barbie in the media, and then I want to talk about the new live action film that's coming up. Surprise, surprise, I'm sure that you guys are like, okay, great, like, I knew that's where that was going. But I am just so excited about this new film because, one, I'm in love with Ryan Gosling, and two, I'm also equally in love with Margot Robbie. So I'm really excited to see this new movie. Okay, back to Barbie in media. So who can forget the 1997 banger Barbie Girl by Aqua? Okay, I really want to play you guys a clip of it, but like I can't because of copyright. So enjoy my singing. Life in plastic is fantastic. Anyway, I love the song. You love the song. You know who didn't love the song? Mattel. Mattel came out swinging, okay? With a lawsuit claiming copyright infringement, trademark dilution, defamation, I think. They wanted to stop the distribution of this banger at all costs. And after 5 bitter years of court battles, the winner was Aqua. The judge said, okay, it's not like these folks are like trying to represent Barbie, right? They were like, you can clearly tell it's a parody, okay? Relax. Around the time that this major lawsuit was winding down, Mattel also released their own animated Barbie movies, and they became cult classics to people like me who were youngins in 2001.
I hope Gothel chokes on a tea.
Prior to 2001, Mattel did not want Barbie represented in any media because they wanted Barbie's story to be unique to each child. They didn't want the type of media that the child consumed to affect the way that the child engaged in the Barbie play. But in the end, they eventually had to cave because the movies gave a richer level of story that leads to a richer level of play. Sounds like maybe, perhaps, kind of a way to make more money. I will say that the Barbie cinematic universe does have a lot of themes of female empowerment.
Your jacket looks great. I don't know what you're talking about, but every woman in here is gonna like that, please.
So let's take one example, the Barbie as Rapunzel movie. So Barbie lives in a secluded house with the witch Gothel, and one day she finds an enchanted paintbrush. This paintbrush allows her to make portals to go into different areas, different parts of the kingdom. Now, Gothel finds this out, of course, and destroys the paintbrush. But not before Barbie as Rapunzel, Barbie Rapunzel, can do like a quick flip it and reverse it and makes Gothel get entrapped in her own spell. Barbie was the one who saved herself, not the prince like the original Grimm fairy tale said. And that brings us to our 2023 live-action Barbie film.
So cool.
You guys, I'm so excited about it. I think I'm just excited because of, like, 1, the nostalgia, 2, I love the actors involved, and 3, it's like the costume design looks so cool. I'm also just a fan of, like, absurd and goofy movies, but let's look at what other people are finding interesting about this new movie. So this poll by Film Threat showed that Gen Xers were really feeling that nostalgia for the movie. Meanwhile, millennials and Gen Zers were excited to see the film because they love Margot Robbie's work. The memes about the movie also seem to influence Zoomers to see the movie, but I think that the appeal also lies in the goofiness and absurdity that you can see through the trailers. Needless to say that I'm really excited to see this movie, whether the plot is groundbreaking or if it's just fine. Okay, where does this leave us? How is Barbie in her current state impacting the kids? That's who she's marketed towards, right? Well, it's nuanced. That's my answer to everything. It's nuanced. But really though, Barbie's message is not inherently a bad one. Her slogan is, "You can be anything," which is wonderful to help encourage young people to do whatever they want. However, that harmful past of toxic diet culture is not behind Barbie, because the research does suggest that playing with Barbie dolls negatively impacts self-esteem and body image perception of young girls. It's heartbreaking to know that adults like myself and probably you are able to dissect these nuances as much as we can, but children just aren't capable of doing that. They just see her for her outward appearance. In her book, Barbie Culture, author Mary F. Rogers said, quote, "We may know Barbie and other fantastic creations are not real, but in our gut they may feel real enough to serve as touchstones or role models as fuels for our hopes and dreams." And that's a little sad, right? To know that Barbie's overall message is a good one, but when children look at her, they don't see a pediatrician or a pilot. They don't see all of the things that she can be. They just see her for her appearance of beautiful clothes, a pretty face, and a figure that society wants you to have. But it's impossible. That was a lot, but I hope you liked the video. Let me know what your favorite Barbie accessory was or is. Mine, when I was growing up, was the Barbie Dream House, of course, but I never got it. I am so beyond happy that you guys twisted my arm to make this video because it was absolutely wonderful and fun to make. So shout outs to these people for twisting my arm in my last short. And that is all I have on the history of Barbie, my friends. If you like this video, feel free to touch the like button so that you can play the rest of my videos. Oh, why am I like this? I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!